Vicky. I am back with another process video. Today I am going to play with a little bit of mixed media, and this is a total mess. I do keep it, but it is quite... So right there I just showed you some gel matte medium. I am just going to paint that on my white background a little bit. I am going to take some thread and put it on the medium. I was trying to glue it down and then I put a little bit on top. I don't know why I thought that would work better than just using some Scotch quick dry or whatnot, but it didn't really work all that much better. But I guess you don't know unless you really try. So that is what I did, and this right here is step one of making a disaster mess page. So then I go ahead and pull out this Mr. Huey's, I think that is in Audrey, and I sprinkle it around a little bit. This is the darkest blue that I have on the page, so I don't know why I chose that color, but I did. And so I'm using some Liquitex modeling paste, and I'm going to do this star stencil over the thread, the number 2 step in making a disaster. So I go ahead and do that over both sections, and I also do it at the top of where the picture will be and at the bottom of where that picture will be. I hadn't used a stencil in a while, and I thought it would be fun to pull one out and use it, and it was fun. It just didn't turn out great. So after I do this, I'm going to trim my photo down a little bit more and put the background aside and start doing some layering with my photo. The papers that I am using, I think they are from the Fancy Free line. This is an old Scraptastic kit, not old, maybe a month or two old, and I just was using a bunch of scraps. I was just cutting them down and just sticking little layers behind that picture until I found them to be a way that I liked. And it just is a process. I keep putting more and more and more and more behind it. I'm going to use some double-sided tape to put it down, and the only reason I used that is because it was sitting on my desk, so it was handy. So yeah, these are just scraps like I mentioned, and some of them I had punched out of, so I just trim them down, trim the punch pieces out of it and stick them behind there. The photo that I'm going to scrapbook is a photo of my niece Kayla from when she graduated high school. This was in May of 2015, and I went home that year just to see her graduate, actually. So that is what this picture is of, and you can tell a lot with my scrapbooking what kind of a mood I'm in. And this day that I was doing this, I was not in a happy mood. I was feeling a little bit of resentment and just kind of really cranky, and you can tell that I was cranky because this is kind of a cranky looking layout. So, and it shouldn't be. I'm gonna probably have to re-scrap this picture of her for her, and I will keep this page just because I did it. But I will probably I'll probably do another page to send to her. So the embellishments I'm going to use, there are a lot of flowers that were fussy cut out of one of those Paige Evans papers. And then one of the other papers had little flowers, and I spent some time fussy cutting out all these small flowers as well. Right here I'm roughing up the edges of my layers with my scissors. I do have a Tim Holtz distress tool, but at this time it was missing. I had used it previously and didn't put it up, so now I'm gonna have to find it. So I just used the edges of my scissors, which works just the same. I mean, having a distress tool is nice, but it's not necessary. So that is pretty much how my layers end up being in the end. So anyways, I do use those fussy cut flowers, and also on here you'll see some flowers, and they are just, what I had done was I had punched out some circles with a 1/2 inch circle punch, and I just used my scissors and cut a spiral in the circle, and then I rolled the circle up to look like a little flower. So those are scattered throughout the page as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start seeing how I want to embellish it. Those little squares you see at the bottom there, those I had cut out from a previous layout. So some of them are inked and some of them are not inked. And I just go with it. It doesn't bother me that some are inked and some aren't. They are just scraps that I had left over from the previous layout. Most of what I use are just leftovers. I am going to keep that row up at the top, a row of 4, and under the pictures I am just going to have one row of 5 of those squares. I do a lot of fussing around on this layout, and it's mostly because those 2 side areas with the thread, I didn't like them. I didn't care for the stenciling, and so I'm trying to make them into a way that I would like it. And you know, maybe when you get to this point is where you should have said, you know, not you, I should have just thrown out the background and started over again, but I'm not going to do that because that's admitting defeat. We're not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out all these little cut small flowers that were cut out of one of the papers, and I'm going to put those around the page. And I do put them on the squares, and I put some over to the right and to the left. I did replace that awesome with the ghosty do because the awesome, it was yellow and it was kind of blending into all of that thread and stenciling in the background. Right there I showed you my glue gun, and it was just a hey, I'm going to go away, I'll be right back. You can see I put high school graduation out at the bottom, and I was too lazy to Google it, and I couldn't decide, is high school one word or two? So it's kind of one word smushed together with a capital S. I still haven't Googled it, so I don't, and you know that should be something I know, but I didn't, so I went ahead and pulled out this flare. It's going to land over there, and it says hashtag good times, and I wanted something circular on the other side, so I end up using this puffy sticker from the Paige Evans, and it's just an ampersand with all the colors of the collection in it. And actually those colors look darker to me than the colors of the papers in that same collection do, but I do go with it. So after I do that, I do nothing else. Right there I was waving away. It was all sorts of hot glue strings. So that's all I do to the layout. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Stay tuned for the close-up so you can see the beautiful disaster we have. Bye guys.